Welcome back, everyone. I'm sure you know how this works, but if you're new, before we continue the story, please pause the video and go watch the previous episodes of this series since you might get lost if you're not caught up. The link to the series playlist will be down in the description of the video. Now with all that said, let's begin. Chapter 24, The Sunny Side of Sinnoh. Dark clouds ironically float high above Sunny Shore City as the golden horizon pulls into the port after a week-long journey back to Sinnoh. It felt good for Violet to have solid ground under her once again. Unlike Dante, she didn't get used to being on the ocean for as long as she has been. The excitement for her next gym battle of the Sinnoh League is evident in her step, and she only is reminded about the shadow following her when Lucius comments on the dreadful weather. She pays no attention to him and leads the way through the city to the Pokémon gym. To her dismay, she finds it in a state of disrepair with workers moving around following the orders of a middle-aged man with a large red afro. "We need to get more red," he says enthusiastically. Violet approaches him. Hello?" The man with the red afro whips around with a wild smile. "A challenger, I presume?" he asks. "I'm Flint, former member of the Elite Four and now gym leader of Sunny Shore City." "I heard there was a new gym leader, but I wasn't expecting you. I'm Violet Oak," Violet says, realizing this battle will not be easy. "I heard of you. Been tearing through the Sinnoh region," he says, smiling. "Yeah, I took a vacation when Volkner took my place. Just got back a few weeks ago from Alola to take over as gym leader. Right now there is no gym, but we can still have a battle. I'll meet you on the beach in 15 minutes. Flint says, smiling, a touch of excitement riding high in his voice. Violet agrees and she turns to head to the beach with both Dante and Lucius following close by. Violet's demeanor turns more conflicted as she ponders her upcoming battle. Strategies and battle plans play through her head and only causes her frustration. "Dante," she says, almost snapping, "can I ask you for a favor?" Sure. What do you need?" he says hesitantly, fearing that she'll snap again. "Do you think I can borrow Kabutops? I wasn't prepared for a fire-type trainer, and Kabutops is a great counter to fire types." "Sure. Do you want Golurk too?" Dante says half-jokingly while handing Kabutops' Pokeball to her. "I want a fair fight, not just to squeeze the badge out of Flint," she says with laughter and a smile. She lets Kabutops out of the ball and it looks around in confusion. "Hey, I need you to help Violet out in her next fight, okay? She's counting on you to help her win," Dante says, smiling at his Pokemon. Kabutops looks from him to Violet and nods understandingly. A glint of excitement flashes across its eyes, knowing it will be in a battle. The beach is deserted when they arrive, with only the markings of the tide on the sands. The clouds get heavier and rain begins to fall. Once the rain starts to come down heavier, Dante brings out Torterra and both he and Lucius sit on top of his shell under the tree. The ever-impatient Violet paces back and forth waiting for Flint. The second the promised 15-minute mark passes, anger begins to build up in her. Her pacing quickens and she begins kicking sand with each step. Finally, after 20 minutes, Flint arrives on the beach. "Sorry to keep you waiting. Helped my crew cover up materials when the rain started," Flint says, rubbing the back of his neck. "With this rain, it should give you an advantage, Violet. But my Pokemon are not the run-of-the-mill fire types. Are you ready?" "More than ready. After I beat you, this will be my 8th gym badge," Violet declares with a heavy, cocky air. "Well, considering that, I'll do my best to give you a good fight." Flint takes a ball from his belt. "This will be a 2-on-2 battle if that's okay with you." "Sounds good to me." "Awesome. Let's get this started then. Go, Infernape!" He tosses his Pokeball and it opens mid-air and the powerful Sinnoh region starter emerges. Violet smiles as she tosses up Dante's Pokeball and Kabutops emerges and lands with its scythe claws digging into the sand. "Okay, Infernape, let's get going with Thunder Punch," Flint orders. Despite his age, he has a childlike energy about him. The Infernape launches forward with its fist cocked back. Sparks begin to form around it and soon it's engulfed in electricity. "Kabutops, counter with Night Slash," Violet says, watching the movement of her opponent. Kabutops jumps up with dark glowing scythe claws. The two Pokemon trade blows and counter each other's attacks in a marvelous display of combat. With one powerful swipe of its blades, Kabutops sends Infernape flying back towards Flint. "Oh, now this is a good fight. Infernape, combine your attacks, both Fire Punch and Thunder Punch." Infernape grins with a horrible sneer as both its fists take on the elements. Violet looks at the Pokemon with shock, never having seen that before. "Kabutops, use your speed to avoid Infernape. Aqua Jet!" Violet says, trying to stay a few steps ahead of Flint. Just as the Infernape is about to strike, Kabutops cloaks itself in water and launches upward, totally avoiding the attack. It spins in the air and slams back down in blinding speed. Infernape is unable to avoid the attack and takes the rain-boosted Aqua Jet. The damage on it is evident as it uses its powerful legs to throw off Kabutops. Flint sees the wear on his Pokemon and knows Infernape won't be able to hold on much longer. Do as much damage as you can, Infernape. Get in with close combat. Flint orders his plans play out before him. Infernape dashes forward with its fists and feet glowing with energy. Kabutops, stop it with ancient power! Kabutops taps into the primordial power and draws up the phantom boulders from years long ago, and just as Infernape is about to plant its fist into Kabutops, it lets loose the ancient power. The boulders hit like a truck and send Infernape back to Flint's feet. It struggles to stand, but it makes it to his feet and is ready for one more move. You did well, Infernape. Let's change this battle up. Sunny day! Flint says with a knowing grin. I won't let that happen. Kabutops, stop it with Aqua Jet! Violet orders, knowing that the weather could change this whole battle. Just as Kabutops smashes into Infernape and knocks it out, Infernape lets a glowing orb free and it speeds into the sky. It disappears into the clouds and explodes. The rain stops instantly and the clouds break up and a heavy sunshine covers everything that the eye can see. You are doing well, Violet, Flint says, returning Infernape. But the weather is on my side now, and the battle will change. Go, Magmortar! The massive fire-type Pokemon lands and sinks into the sand of the beach. That's a big Pokemon, but they all fall the same, Violet says with a smile. Kabutops, get that first hit! Aqua Jet! Not this time! Magmortar! Solar Beam! Kabutops bursts into water and launches forward, and Magmortar aims its cannon arm right at its target. With the boosted sun, the attack fires instantly without needing to charge, and it consumes the Kabutops with the beam. The water from Aqua Jet fades, and Kabutops lands into the sand, knocked out cold. Violet recalls Dante's Pokemon and can't help but feel horrible for letting Kabutops faint. She looks over at him, but all he does is smile and cheer her on. I can win this. I have what it takes, and then some, Violet says to herself. She sends out her last Pokemon. Garchomp emerges with a mighty roar. The bright sun glints off the armored crown she wears that holds her Megastone. Garchomp slashes at the sand, and the thrill of the fight has already infected her. Violet smiles, seeing her possible strongest Pokemon, and she can't help remember back to the first time they met. How she has grown, and now she will grow further. Violet reaches into her pocket and feels the bracelet. She pulls it out and slips the ring onto her wrist. She runs her hands over the keystone and knows this is the time. Garchomp! It's time, girl! Mega Evolve! The keystone on the ring glows bright as tendrils of energy snake out and combine with tendrils emerging from Garchomp's crown. Her body glows and grows into a new form. The light breaks and Garchomp roars with her new power. Flint smiles, seeing the birth of pure power. Now this is a fight I've been waiting to take on. Magmortar, give it everything! Lava Plume! Magmortar cocks its arm again and a torrent of molten lava pours out like a fire hose. Garchomp takes to action and avoids the attack with blinding speed. Great, girl! Let's use that speed! Dragon Claw! Garchomp growls and whips around with its curved blade-like claws glowing deep purple. She slices into Magmortar with each pass she runs. She returns to Violet's side after the fifth pass that brings Magmortar to a knee. We won't lose that easily. Magmortar, give this one everything you got. Hyper Beam! Still on a knee, the massive Pokemon aims its arm cannon and lets loose a powerful blast of pure energy. Garchomp, dive into the Hyper Beam with Bulldoze! Violet says, seeing an opening no one else sees. Garchomp dives into the sand and throws up dirt and sand as it collides with the Hyper Beam. She moves with the sand acting as a shield and makes her way right through the Hyper Beam and into Magmortar. The massive fire type is knocked backwards but still remains able to fight. Let's end this now, Garchomp! Use the sun against them! Flamethrower! Violet says, seeing the end of the battle. With one massive roar, Garchomp lets loose a flame as bright as the sun. It burns across the sand, turning it into glass, and collides and envelops Magmortar in white flames. The fire still burns the sand when Magmortar falls through the fire, knocked out by its own element. Garchomp flashes bright and returns to its normal form. Flint looks at his knocked out Pokemon in shock and finally recalls it. He walks past the flames and past Garchomp and offers a hand to Violet. She takes his hand with a smile. To be beaten by my own typing, I'm impressed, Flint says with laughter in his voice. I am happy to give you this, then. He reaches into his pocket and hands Violet the beacon badge. Thank you, Violet says, looking down at her final badge. You earned that. You'll give Cynthia a run for her money with your skills. I plan on doing more than that. This will be my 4th league win, Violet says with a confidence that cannot be competed with. After a round of congratulations from Dante and Lucius, the group heads back to the Pokémon Center to heal Kabutops and Garchomp. On the way there... On the way there, Lucius received an urgent phone call and went off on his own. Violet felt relief to have him gone, even if it was for a moment. As the nurse takes care of the Pokémon, Violet pulls Dante into the lounge. I am so sorry Kabutops fainted, she says with her head down. Dante laughs and puts an arm around her. No, it's fine. Kabutops loves to fight. I promise you it enjoyed this. Thank you, Dante, for lending it to me. I really appreciate it, she says, putting a hand on his leg and looking over at him. Dante leans into Violet's waiting lips and takes advantage of this moment they have to let their passions fly free. I want this to be forever, Dante. Me too, Vi. The Poké Center's healer chimes, signaling that both Kabutops and Garchomp are healed. They walk over to the nurse's station and retrieve their Pokémon. Violet smiles, realizing her next destination is the Pokémon League. The sound of a helicopter screams over the Pokémon Center as it settles down in front of the building with its blade still rotating. Lucius enters the Pokémon Center, and Dante and Violet meet him at the door. He has a look of exhilaration on his face, and that scares Violet. I know you must be anxious to get to the Pokémon League, but I want to invite both of you to see the dawn of a new age. Please, join me in going to Spear Pillar. The time has come, Lucius says, his eyes wild and crazed. Dante's face lights up as the blood drains from Violet's. You mean it's actually time? Yes, everything is ready. All that it needs is us. Lucius looks over at Violet. Will you join us in this miracle? Violet only nods, having lost her voice to fear. She remembers back to the promise to Looker, and she can feel the old revolver sitting in her backpack pulling down her soul. Wonderful. Let's set out, shall we? Lucius leads the way to his private helicopter. Violet and Dante sit together, and Lucius sits down in front of him. A steel case rests next to him, and she assumes that's where the Azure Flute is. The helicopter lifts off the ground and continues into the sky and turns and begins its flight to Mount Coronet and the legendary Spear Pillar. And that is the end of Chapter 24. Please leave feedback and your thoughts in the comments below. It helps me grow and change the story so it doesn't turn into something you don't want to listen to. Violet has conquered the 8 gyms of the Sinnoh region, but a darkness is on the horizon, and a new age is about to begin. If you enjoyed this video, please share this series around so others can enjoy it as well, and leave a like so I know you enjoyed this episode. Follow me on Twitter for updates on anything and everything Pokemon, as well as to know when all my videos go live. The link to my Twitter is down in the description below. And as always, it's been Black Phoenix. Thanks for watching, everyone.